Hello and welcome to Harrow Park Model Railway. Today we're looking at the Princess locomotive from Rovex and Triang, and here we see the earliest version that I have is from about January 1951. The very first Princess Elizabeth came out in the December 1950, which was only a few dozen with roller bearings. And this version has got the plunger pickups, which replace the roller bearings the following month. This has got the Mark I body, which was improved upon the following year. Like sandboxes added here and an oil point on the model to make it look like the original. And it's got the large, although you can't really see it, it's faded a bit. It's got the large imprint of the British Railways sign on the back. If I turn the tender, you could clearly see the early Mark I couplings on the back there, which was only used for the very first year on this model. This was replaced by this one. I'll move this one back, and then we got this one. It is replaced by this one, also Princess Elizabeth, and it's got the improved body. It's still got cellulose acetate plastic, which warped at the time. It's cellulose acetate is what they made strip films with, or cinema films. This one you could see the lion of the British Railways emblem there. Fairly good on this one. It's not worn away so bad. The only other difference is, of course, the pickups were due to having plastic wheels, and the Mark I ZF motor required part of the chassis to be dismantled before the motor could be removed. On the back, you could see the very early Triang Mark II couplings. So that was what you had. So like from 1950 through to about 1952. I think this actual coupling came out in May 1952. So we'll put those to the back. And then the next big change was in 1953. Let's put the next one on there. Let's put the next one there. Right. The major change here, I'll just put these two to the side a minute so there's no distraction in the background. Right. The main difference here, and the big difference as it is that now it's got metal wheels. It's got metal wheels, and the plunger pickups have gone because it's now picking up from the wheels itself. We're now about 1953. It's still called Princess Elizabeth, and it's still made from cellulose acetate. The big difference now on the tender is that the emblem is smaller. It's about 1/8 of an inch smaller than on the one I showed you just now. And I think I can actually bring that back in and show you. The emblem's a lot smaller now, the one at the bottom. Right. But now the Princess Elizabeth was in two colours. You had it in black, which I've just shown you, and we have it in green. And they were both running simultaneously. Let's put that like that. This is the later tender that came out a little bit later because it's got transfers on there and lining. But the locomotives from 1953, it's a very sort of pale, more olive green than the actual normal express green. Still Princess Elizabeth, and it's still got the white numbers without the lining. Whereas the tender is probably about 1 or 2 years older than the locomotive, because it's got the later lining and the emblem. It's got the Mark II-B couplings with a little weight here at the bottom. And these were both running together in parallel, the Princess Elizabeth in green and the Princess Elizabeth in black. And that's what you had until about 1958. And then a big change came in, a very big change. This time you had three Princess locomotives all at the same time. 1959 was a big year. And let's put it there, right. And now you've got, although it's a bit damaged here, it's got the full lining, and it's got a new name. It's now called Princess Victoria, and it's got fitted brass valves, and it's got it's now got a coupling at the front, and that's the Mark III couplings, which is still basically what they use today. And you had the Princess Victoria in black. Like I say, you had a choice of three. And then you had also in 1959, you had this one, which is the Princess Elizabeth. The Princess Elizabeth was now green. And the green is far more realistic than the very early green. Where's my early one? There you can see the difference in the green between the early one, which is at the top, and the 1959 one, which is at the bottom. Totally different green. Also, the tender changed. If you look at the tender, the top lip there where the coaling is, here's the early one, and then the bottom one, the modern one, is more pronounced. Also, if you look at the end, the one on the left is the up-to-date one, which has got far more detail on it, and then the early one was just smooth here. So you've got a vast improvement to the tender detail as well. And of course, that was Princess Elizabeth. The black one was Princess Victoria. And then I think it actually, although it was probably made in 1959, but released in 1960, was the Princess Royal. You had it in a maroon version for the first time. And that gave you three different locomotives: the Princess Royal, the Princess Elizabeth, and the Princess Victoria. And it was the really high point. It was really the high point of the Princess, because in 1962 these three were taken out of the catalogue at the end of the year and replaced by this one. This was the kit version of the Princess Elizabeth, and this was all that was available in the Princess Elizabeth, or the Princess class, until about 1969. So this one took you through the majority of the 60s. I actually bought this one for £10, and I bought it to break for spares, actually. So I don't have a chassis on this one. But there it is. I've already cannibalized the chassis, but I've still got the body. The difference is, of course, is that this version has the later version of the brass valves, safety valves up here at the top. So that's how I can date that one, and that's how I can establish that the other green one is the pre-kit version. So that meant there was no ready-to-run Princesses until about 1969, 1970. I think it was 1970 that then you had, it was in the mania where Triang Hornby was going into pre-nationalisation liveries. And there we have the maroon one again as Princess Elizabeth, but in the LMS pre-nationalisation version. And it's a lovely little runner, but the nameplates are now paper glued on with paper glued on there, which would have been nice if it had been printed on. But things are as they are, and that was followed in 1974 by another 3 locomotives, and that was the 1974 Princess Victoria. It was done as a farewell to the princess because the mode was no longer any good. It would have been worn out by 1975. So in 1974, after 20-something years in use, 25 years in use, they decided to retire it. And this was the very last swan song of the Princess locomotive from Triang. It's got the heat printed, or let's say heat printed, the emblem on here, just like the early ones did, just as a nod to the early beginnings. It was available in 3 colors. This was, and they were all called Princess Victoria. This was the black version, which was available. I think it was 10,000 made as a solo model, and there was another 10 or 12,000 used in sets, in train sets. This one is the green version, exactly the same, but in green. Princess Victoria again. And this one was only used for mail order. It was used in a number of sets for mail order, and is not too difficult to find. The maroon version of this is difficult to find, and that was only used in 1 mail order set. And when that was finished in 1974, you had to wait 10 years for the next princess, and it was totally new tooling. The totally new chassis, totally new body. Well, I even had to push it back because it was actually bigger. It was actually a little bit bigger than the early version. Let's see if I can find my green one here. It's Princess Elizabeth, and here we have. How can I hold that so that I don't block it with the camera? Block with my thumb. You see the difference in the length. It was a lot. The new one was a lot longer, and that was 1984. And it's got tender drive and a tremendous amount of extra detail on there, especially with the couplings, with the connecting rods and what have you. And you can see daylight under the boiler, and a really, really smart locomotive. 10 years later, although there was other ones in between, but I don't have them. 10 years later, it was followed by this one. They're well outside my collecting period because my collecting period really stops about 1975. But due to my love of the princess, I wanted to get the later models as well. And isn't this beautiful? This is 1994, and it's the most up-to-date one that I have, and that is the Princess Helena Victoria. When you think that we came all the way from this in 1950 through to this in 1994, the model has come certainly a very, very long way. Okay, I only covered the Princess locomotive in this video because I've got so many of them. There's actually 12 locomotives involved. Okay, thank you for having a look, and looking forward to seeing you again, and bye bye for now.